Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Miasiak. Today, I want to talk about or share about what I learned when I slowed down. So, about a month or two ago, I had an episode called Me Retreat, and I was sharing about what I was going to do to take some time for me because I found that I haven't been taking enough care of myself, and I wanted to shift. I wanted to shift how I was living and eating and being. And I was sharing about how I was going to take 3 weeks off. Now, looking at it, I couldn't actually take 3 weeks off. Not right now. Like, it just didn't work out because I take the summers off to be with my kids, or I work very part-time hours in the summer, actually. So I had to be realistic with the time I wanted to take off. So I took the 4 days after Easter Monday off. And then the week after, like the 2 weeks after that, I had reduced hours for working. And so I had some days that were just for me. Originally, I had this plan where I'm going to do some deep journaling and I'm going to, do some heavy reading. And I had all these ideas. And as it went on, I actually took it one day at a time to see what I needed in that day. So instead of, taking these days off and then filling them with things, I took it one day at a time and what do I need right now? Because I had this idea, but then all these things that I wanted to do, I'm like, there's a lot. It was a little overwhelming. And I'm overwhelming myself when I'm supposed to be learning more about myself. And there was a tug of war. And just by slowing down, I got to see that. So I'd have my day off. And I'm like, oh man, I should clean this part. I wanted to do spring cleaning. So I'm like, I should organize my bathroom. Or I should do this. And I'm like, this is not why I took these days off. I didn't take these days off to spring clean. I took these days off to figure out what I needed and to slow down and listen to what my heart has to say. What's going on in my mind space? What's going on? What's floating up there? What has been going on? And a big other one component to my me retreat was doing some major self-care. So dry brushing, just taking care of my body on ways that I've kind of let go a little bit, get back into healthy routines, getting enough sleep, making sure that was a big one, making sure I got enough sleep, changing my eating. So I was actually doing, it's from Chris Carr's Adventure Cleanse, and I did no meat. So it was all plant-based and no refined sugars and things like that. And it was looking at vegetables. So thinking about your plate from 60-40 or 80-20. And honestly, 80-20 was just a little too much for me at that moment. It was still a little cold out, and the thought of eating 80% vegetables at each meal was a little too much. So I'm like, let's reach for what I can, what feels reachable right now for me. And it was a 60-40. So looking at my plate and just making sure that I had enough vegetables on it. And that was a big game changer for me. So the first week, I felt really good. I was sleeping well and things like that. I finally got to slow down and see what it is. And I want to share about this real quick before I forget is by slowing down, I became more creative again. I got to see my business as a different thing. My life, my children. I got to appreciate things in a different way, in a deeper way, because I was slowing down and being more aware and mindful of my life. How am I living? How am I showing up? And I really got to slow down and it was really beautiful. Until it wasn't. No, I'm kidding. So I will be honest here, and I shared it in the stress one, the Let's Talk About Stress episode, where I was still craving sugar. Where my kids would come and they'd be whining or complaining about something, as kids do sometimes. They're having a moment. And I would needed, I desperately was jonesing for sugar. And that's when I realized that I was using food and even alcohol as a way to de-stress. So the moment I ate into that chocolate, I was I could feel the stress relieving. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? We don't judge. We're not being it's not about judging ourselves when we learn something about ourselves. It's oh, I had some major aha moments on this me retreat of mine. A lot, huge aha moments because I was slowing down and listening to the world around me, to myself, It's amazing what can happen when we give ourselves a little space and some more attention, because we need it. We need our own attention. We need to take care of ourselves. But sometimes life goes like we're just like go, 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 and we forget, or we put ourselves last. So this was me making more of an effort of putting myself first. And I'm not saying, like I said this in the episode of the Me Retreat, where I'm not saying like take 3 weeks off. That might not be doable. But even just taking a day, an afternoon, or a weekend, like a day on the weekend, or a whole weekend if you can, like, but it's doing what works for you in your life. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Don't overwhelm yourself with this. The details, like the amount of time doesn't matter. What matters is that you take time for you. So even if you only have an hour, it's like scheduling an hour in once a week to really just have no agenda, just to listen to what you need. It's really beautiful. Like no doing, no chores, no nothing, just taking an hour for you. And even if you end up just doodling in your journal, be like, I don't want to spend this time, but I'm doing it because Jody told me to, like just sit with that and see how it feels. And it's really amazing what can happen when you're more mindful. So I did have a problem with sugar. It went deeper than that though. And if you listen to Let's Talk About Stress, I mentioned it a little bit, but I'm going to go deeper now. So day 10 of the Me Retreat, I was doing good. Like other than eating a little bit of chocolate here and there and realizing that my stress, like it was what I was doing when I was stressed out. Day 10 though, I go to see my naturopath and we did a test to see what kind of foods might not be helping with my digestion. Like something was going on. And like I've been seeing her to see like how I can better, how I can just like treat my body better to get a really good place of health. Cause I've kind of let myself just not be first. My body, like anyway, so I've been seeing her since I think late last year. And I've been having like super indigestion and I have this rash that showed up in the end of December, I think it was. And I just had all these things and I'm like, what is going on? And then I actually, January, February, and even March, like I just felt really fatigued, like insanely tired. And I had a lot of sinus infections, like just stuffy. And I spent way too much time in bed these months. Like I had these plans and, they always say like, anyways, planning or life is happening when you're busy planning or something like that. Anyways, I had a lot of plans for this year and I've had to take a step back from a lot of my plans. I remember December, I was like, woot, I have all these plans. Like I had this whole year figured out, right? I had no energy to implement my plan. Anyway, so I go in and to go over my food, what's been up. Good news, most foods don't have any high amounts or anything. So I can pretty much eat whenever I want. But here's the thing. My gut, like I have issues or I had issues. Turns out my candida, because I went with the test that you could test for candida. No idea what that was at the time. Candida, we all have it in our mouth and in our stomach in small amounts. Well, mine was not in a small amount. It was in like insane amounts. So here I am. I'm eating really well, plant-based diet, no refined sugars, other than like on occasion I'd have like a little piece of chocolate because I'm like, when my stressful moments. And actually that was only for the first couple of days, I think. I finally eased out of it week 2. So no refined sugars by week 2. I was eating really well. I was feeling good. I think at that point, I forget how much it was, but I was feeling good. Like I felt like, was it close? I think it was close to 10 pounds. Since the beginning of April anyways, like, cause I changed my eating before doing this. Like I did like a cleanse of sorts, a detox before doing the cleanse. I know that might sound silly, but I did a 5-day fast. So anyways, but I was feeling really good. My indigestion, like my acid reflux was gone. No longer had to sleep with a pillow at nighttime. Like just losing, 10 pounds, like was amazing. I don't want to make this about weight loss, by the way, but I'm just sharing with what happened. Anyways, so day 10 of my Me Retreat out of 21 days. And my naturopath is like, you are doing really well with your eating. but it's not going to be enough for candida. So we have to do more. So I was told of like what I couldn't eat. And in fact, a lot of it was on my plant-based diet, like cashews and mushrooms. Those are two main components, especially if you've heard of like Chris Carr. She like everything's cashew based and mushrooms because those are really good staples on a plant base. Because here's the thing about my plant-based eating. I try very hard not to eat packaged plant-based stuff. I don't eat plant-based because of I guess it's good for the environment, but like my main focus is to feed my body healthy foods. And so I focus on like as close to earth as possible, even on a plant base. Anyway. And the thing is, like, I was wondering, like, why am I still tired? Like, normally I've done the plant-based eating before, and I've always had more energy. I always feel good. But this time I didn't. I felt good, like, physically wise, like, things were fitting better. But like fatigue, though, was still there. And then that all made sense when my naturopath said about candida. So if you don't know what candida is, it's overgrowth of yeast in the gut. Usually in the gut. And then it can actually show up in different ways, like rashes and sinus infections and fatigue and everything all the symptoms for candida, I had it. And I'm like, oh, that explains my year. So sometimes when we slow down, we get to figure out things like it could even be deeper under the surface. Now, that being said, I did have this meetup with my naturopath, but I made this decision. Actually, I started seeing her in November when my birthday. I made the decision to make health a priority. So when we make ourselves a priority in our health, like I'm like, I don't want to be tired anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to be healthy. So when we make a point to like send ourselves love, it's amazing what can happen. And like we were back and forth on like what it could be. And, anyways, long story short, now we know. And every single thing that I was coming like to my naturopath for makes sense. And it makes sense that why I was still craving refined sugar when I was not eating it anymore. Like, why did I still need it so badly? The moment I did exactly what my naturopath said, which is like cutting out like all fungal, like mushrooms and even like cashews because they're a moldy nut and things like that, like everything, no vegetables that are high in sugars, like so sweet potatoes and things like the moment I checked, I cut all that out. No more sugar cravings. Not a one. Not a one. And it's been really amazing. So I don't want to go too far down the candida thing, but I wanted to share that with you in case it's something that you're like, oh, that might, who knows who this might help. So I'm sharing it because I'm living through it right now. And I want to let you know, like, it feels good to figure out what is causing things. Now, the medical world doesn't recognize this much yet. And like I said, I've been working with a naturopath. So I have, it's going to be an interesting road. There's a lot of things I have on the no eating list right now, including dairy, which makes me sad because I love cheese. So it's a commitment to myself though. And actually, here's a funny story. So my naturopath told me it was 2 weeks ago from today. And then I was on the phone with my sister because she's visiting. And I'm like, it's okay. Am I on this thing? I'm like, I'll just go off of it for the week that you guys are here. It's okay. And I've been feeling so good that I'm like, I don't want to feel bad again. So I'm already aware that I'm going to have to make changes until I heal my gut. So sometimes we think we're not going to be able to do something until we get there. And we realize that what we're doing now feels better than what we were doing before. Like I can zip up my raincoat. It feels so good. And I don't have to get soaked on the front because I've shedding things that I no longer need. And it's been an amazing process to get to know myself. I've discovered new things. I was telling my friend, I'm like, it's fun. When I'm told I can't eat like a million different things, I'm like, well, okay, what can I eat and how can I make it happen? So I actually started growing sprouts. And I'm like, I need something to eat because right now I don't eat broccoli and cauliflower because they hurt my stomach. Now, hopefully once I heal everything, because it's not on my food list of not to eat, I can eat it again. But first I'm staying away from it because it hurts so bad. But so carrots were a big thing in my diet. And now they're like on a sometimes food, like eat them very little because they're higher in sugar. And so I'm finding fun different things like sprouts. And I love sourdough bread, but I can't eat anything with wheat in it right now. So I'm like, maybe I start making gluten-free sourdough. So it's just this fun experimenting stage where I'm like, okay, there's a million things I can't eat. And I could be like so mad about it. But instead, I look at it and be like, what can I eat and how can I make this happen? So it's just about growing new things. Also a big one. I can't, now there's conflicting things. I've read a lot of research online now because I'm like, what is candida and what is it? I've done a lot of research. I know a lot more than I did 2 weeks ago on it. Let's just say that. But my naturopath says no teas. So she's very much about like nothing fermented right now. And if you look at other research and things, they're okay with it. So I'm working with my naturopath. So I'm going to follow her and then I'll ask more questions down the line and things like that. And maybe it's incorporated later. Like obviously I need to work on my gut health and things like that. So I can't have tea. And I was drinking tea instead of coffee on my me retreat to take a break. So anyway, so I'm like finding different things. I can do herbal teas. And then I was doing research about healthy gut and digestion. And I'm like, lemongrass. Lemongrass is good for that. So I'm making homemade lemongrass tea from the stalks and everything. So it's been this really fun adventure. So when life throws you curveballs or, just have this thing that's like, oh, this is happening. Or you're told, don't eat this or do this. Look at it as an adventure. It was funny because I was in the middle of Chris Carr's adventure cleanse. That's how I was working on my self-care and my eating again. I was following that plan. And my naturopath is like, we're going to go on our own adventure now. That's okay. You can pivot and make things, your own. And it's okay. So, I've been on my own adventure and it's been really beautiful. It's nice to see the scale go down instead of constantly going up. Another problem with the candida, whereas I was eating fairly healthy most of the time, obviously had sugar cravings because of this. It needed to be fed. So I was eating more breads and sugars than I would like and that I would normally have. But for the most part, I was eating pretty good. And the scale was constantly going up. So I was like, it was really not fun. I actually stopped going on it for a while. But it just kept going up and up. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's nice to finally see me eating well, working out, and it's finally going down. Again, I don't want to make this about weight loss. I'm just sharing about what can happen when you get to the root of your problems. So I want to talk a little bit more on gut health right now because I've realized how important it is. If you are tired, stressed out, fatigued, any of those things, it's really important to see what's going on with your gut. Because I was reading and it's it makes so much sense. Our guts are connected to our whole life, our whole world around our gut. If our gut isn't in a good place, our mood, our energy levels, our weight, all these things can happen when we aren't, it's the root of the problem, our guts. So I just want to encourage you to have a look, if anything in your life, if you had any aha moments, if anything rang true for you, think about it. And I'm not saying go to a naturopath or whatever, but just do your own research and see, maybe get support. But just, it's amazing how much our gut has control of our lives. I literally was super fatigued for the past 3 months. And then I finally changed, I cut so much sugar out that I was starting to finally feel better without going on the anti-candida diet. But I feel even better now that I have. I can even have natural sugars. And I think the biggest component is, one, it will still feed on it. But the other one is that even natural sugars, then they're like, ooh, sugar. And then the candida has you eat other sugars. Like I said, I've cut out all sugar and I have zero cravings. It's quite amazing. I'm not encouraging you to do this, by the way, just because you have a sugar craving. I'm just sharing with you how when we slow down and we get support and we ask questions what is going on with my life or what do I need, things show up and answers are, here. Like I literally spent my me retreat asking myself, like, what do I need or what is going on? My rash got so bad that I was taking Benadryl every single day. Like originally when it started, I was taking it and it would last for 3 days. My rash got so bad the day that I got my test results that like it was insane, like super itchy and super bad. And it was just getting worse. So I'm just so grateful that I was taking the steps to take care of me. So maybe this is a gentle, loving nudge to, get a physical or to reach out and just, even talk to a nutritionalist, like anything. I'm not pointing you in any direction, just taking a second to think about if it's something you need to look at. Maybe it's not, and that's okay. And I'm just oversharing about my thing. But like this has been running my life for who knows how long. It got triggered around Christmas because I would have been eating a lot more sweet stuff. We had chocolates in the house and things like that, drinking more over the holidays. So it got overly super triggered over Christmas, and my life has not been the same, like in not a great way. So I'm sharing about this because sometimes it goes deeper. Fatigue shouldn't be happening if you're sleeping a good amount of time. So it's just thinking about like maybe eating less sugar and seeing how you feel. Like just things, play, experiment. This is me just sharing about what happened on my me retreat. Because here's the thing. I had this plan, right? I had this plan of 21 days of me taking time to retreat. And I had this idea of what I was going to be eating. And I felt really good on it. It felt so good to go plant-based again. And then all of a sudden, day 10, I had to pivot. I was okay about it, other than once I heard about all the foods I couldn't eat. And my 2 main components for plant-based. So I actually went back to meat. In all fairness, I'm like, okay, there's too much going on. I'm not gonna take another thing off my plate. Literally. Anyway, it's been a venture though. I've tried new things. I'm thinking about like maybe doing sourdough, gluten-free sourdough. And I have control if I make it. There's no sugar in it. So it's really cool. And like I've been experimenting with different foods that I might not have done if somebody said, hey, look, don't eat these right now. And actually knowing that anything I eat on the no list can make it worse has helped me. So there has been a day where I'm like, oh, I really would love dessert. And I'm like, can't have dessert. And like normally I just grab a banana or something that was high in sugar and a fruit. I'm like, I can't have those. Or we make barbecue sauce with dates. I'm like, oh, I can't make that. Like it's been very interesting. A lot of sauces have hidden things in it. But because I know if I feed it, it will get worse. It won't get better. When I feed the candida, it really has helped me stay strong. And then on that, I get to experiment with new foods. Now, I'm going to be honest here because that's how I roll. I actually have been I really miss dessert. So I actually made a thing of brownies the other day. Now, I can have stevia in small amounts because I'm like, can I please have stevia? Like if I really need it. So I made a thing of brownies with stevia. I made sure all the ingredients worked with what I need to eat and things like that. And so I made them and then I let my husband and kids enjoy them too. And then whatever leftovers, they're frozen. I freeze them. And then if I really need dessert, it's something that I can eat. Because even like my naturopath said, like only small amounts of stevia. So it's only for like on moments where I'm like, I really would like some dessert. Because going completely off can be a challenge. So it's figuring out what you can do. And this is like for anywhere in life, right? Like maybe you've been told, you got to stop doing this or you got to start doing this. We'll figure out like how to support you along the way because making big changes in life can be challenging and scary and hard. So it's doing what works for you and getting there, like getting, same thing. So it's just an adventure. I encourage you to go on your own adventure, even if it's an hour a day or a week. Go on your own adventure. See what it is that you might need more of or less of. What are you gravitating to? Like, do you lean on food for things and why? Like, ask yourself questions. As kids, like when I was talking about the last episode about like motherhood, kids ask me, like my kids are constantly asking me questions. As kids, we are adventurous, we are curious, and we want to have answers. And then life gets busy as adults. We have so much responsibilities. Take some time to ask yourself those questions. Get curious. What is it that you need? Or is there something that you need to just say goodbye to? Get curious about your life. Go on an adventure, experience new things. Just so many different things. Try something new. We can get in ruts, and it's so easy to get to a routine, right? Just so easy. Switch it up a little. Try something new. And that is a big thing that I've learned on my me retreat, is that yes, I needed some time. And it was just a really fun thing to see. I have this day off, and then I would want to do house things instead of me things. And then it's just unpacking that, going deeper. And I think for me, it's just a big thing is that I don't want to be sitting and doing something for me when there's something around the house. I'm like, oh, but then I'm putting myself last again. So it's really just figuring out, if you aren't finding time for you in a week or in a day even, why? Ask yourself why. Do you have your days, your weeks, your months packed so full? And maybe it's time to take a step back, ask for support, do something differently, try something new. If you don't have time, even an hour a week, ask yourself why. What is it that we can, you can see if you can ease up on. Are you checking your email every hour or even less? Or, scrolling social media more than you need to. There's nothing about taking everything away, but it's just looking at things in a different way, right? And that was me on my me retreat. Taking a step back, looking at my life from a different angle. I slowed down. When we slow down, we get to see things differently. They've always been happening that way. But when we slow down, we get to really see things differently. So I really encourage you to slow down or go on an adventure or both all at the same time. Go for a hike to the mountain and then look, take a break there. Whatever works for you, right? Again, just a suggestion. But when slowing down, you get to hear your own heart. What desires does it have? There's been so many times that I've wanted to pack up my business because it takes a lot of time, but I love it. Even the other day, I'm like, oh, maybe, I almost said it again. Maybe I should just stop, because being a mom and being a business person, it can be a lot. And I was like, no, I didn't even say it this time. I'm like, there's no way I'm giving it up. I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. And it helps me through the hard times of being a mom and other areas of my life. I love what I do. So it's finding, your work might not bring you joy, but it's finding those little moments that you do, or and then doing more things outside of work that make you happy. Wherever you are, meet yourself there, slow down, and then try new things, go on little mini adventures. And it doesn't have to be physical adventures either, unless you want it to, jumping out of an airplane, I'm not talking about that, unless you want it to be. But just slowing down and then trying new things. It could even just be trying a new vegetable, growing a new plant, whatever works for you. It's just slowing down enough to see and feel the things that are going on in your life. I know from personal experience that, if I don't slow down, rushing from one thing to the next, I sometimes work right to the point where my kids are coming home. And if I don't have a 10, 15-minute time by myself where I'm just decompressing, I'm not as awesome as I could be if I would have taken some time. It's about finding pockets of time to slow down and check in with yourself, doing little mini checks. Whoa, what can I do here? And just taking some time for you. And then the other part about trying new things, because you never know what you're going to find. I'm so excited to have sprouts, bean sprouts on things to eat with now, because I'm, like I said, so many things are being taken away from me food wise right now. And instead of worrying about it, I'm like, okay, problem solve mode. What can I eat instead? So it's just getting creative. And I've been having so much fun with it. So we can always find things to be growly about or upset about. But it's trying about changing your perspective and seeing things differently. And that's really what I've been doing on my me retreat. So, and I honestly, I have to go to share about this too. I remember being at my naturopath's office, and I was just so grateful that I've started eating differently before that moment. Because if I would have went from what I was eating before to that moment, it would have been brutal. The rest of my April would have been like, I probably would have been crying a lot, to be honest, because I would have been going through withdrawals. So anyways, everything happens in its own time and space. Just make sure that you're making space for you so you can breathe and feel and just see and heal. You know, we can't heal parts of ourselves when we are always on go. We can't see those parts that are constantly showing up. You know, like, have you ever had it where, you know, something kept happening in your life, like over and over and over again, like it just sucked. Like, let's even go with I constantly had, like, I didn't have colds this winter, but I felt it in my head. Like it was just congested and I'd be tired. So I just like lay in bed for half the day or all day for a couple weeks here and there. And it just kept showing up. I'm like, what is going on? I just thought it was colds or it's the season. And now it turns out it was my gut. So things show up in our lives until we figure out what it is, right? Like until we learn the lesson keeps showing up. Now I gave you one of those, like it was a complicated lesson, but it can even be as, on the top of my head, I can't think of it, but like something keeps happening that you're like, why does this keep happening? Life is showing you a lesson. And until you slow down and figure out what that lesson is trying to teach you, it's going to keep showing up. So slow down, smell the roses. Now they're out in bloom and it's so beautiful. So take some time for you, slow down and, you know, have some fun doing this and being adventurous if you can. You know, try something new. But most importantly, slow down enough to be able to listen to your own heart and see what's going on in our head. Like we tell our thoughts a lot. Like I focus mostly on eating in this me retreat, but it helped on every level, my mind, body, and spirit. But that's what I've been doing. So, you know, taking time for all areas of my life. And I did do a little bit of spring cleaning in there as well, because it was part of like, I was doing a cleanse for my mind, body, and spirit. But also I did a little bit around my house because our environment also plays a role in our life and how we feel. Anyways, that was a lot. Again, take time for you because you matter. You super, super matter. Hopefully you got that by the end of this episode. Take time for you. It doesn't have to be 3 weeks. I even couldn't figure out how to make 3 weeks happen. And I have complete control over my work schedule. But I was like, if I take 3 weeks now, I won't have, anyways, I had to shift things. And that's okay. Don't stress about it. It's just making time for you. And it can be small little pockets for you. And then try new things and see what happens. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful for you. And yes, just thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.